Hello and welcome to the Formidable Over 40 podcast. I'm Sarah Pittendrig, a mum, award-winning entrepreneur, cancer survivor and mentor and coach. In series 2 of the podcast, we're sharing new stories along with the ethos that you are never too old and it's never too late to design a life you love. On this episode, I am thrilled to be joined by Gail Porter, TV and radio personality, speaker and activist. Gail's journey has taken her through all sides of the media, from presenting children's TV, to modelling, to reality TV, to creating hard-hitting documentaries. All throughout, Gail has championed important causes and openly addresses challenging topics such as homelessness, debt, mental health, and hair loss. I am so excited to hear all about Gail's life with her fierce bravery and optimism on this episode of the Formidable Over 40 podcast. So welcome, Gail. It is great to have you here.
Hello, Sarah. It's nice to see you again. Thanks for having me. That was quite a nice intro. Can I go now?
No, you can't. We've got so much more we want to hear from you. What I would say is, for any listeners who may not know who you are or haven't how they wouldn't have seen or heard from you, but tell us about yourself. Share with the listeners who you are and what you do.
I don't really know, because my daughter said when she was younger, she's going to be 21 this year, and they had a careers day at school, and she came home to me and she's like, "What is it you do?" And I went, "I don't know." And at the time, I was actually doing a program looking for dead people in America. So we're like a ghost hunting program. And then I went in to pick up Honey from school, and her teacher went, "Miss Porter, can I have a quick word with you?" And I was like, "Oh gosh, okay." Head teachers even scare me now, even though I'm supposed to be a grown up. But I went in, and they said, all the other children were going, "Oh, my mum's a dentist, or my dad's a doctor, or." Da-da-da. And she said, "And Honey just said my mummy looks for dead people." And I was like, "Oh." So anyway, that's one of the things I did. But no, I kind of started off as a runner, which is, making teas and coffees and all the rest of it in television in like a long time ago when I was a teenager. And I wanted to be an editor, I think, and I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. And then I ended up sort of getting a job presenting TV. Someone saw me do something so it was, production houses back in the day. They'd get anyone to do anything for free. So, they go, "We need a presenter for that. Gail will do it." And she went, "She can't present." It's like, "No, Gail will do it free." And then someone picked up on it and asked me to go for an audition. So then I kind of started working in children's telly and sort of went backwards and forwards, worked in production, more TV stuff, back to production, more children's TV stuff, got myself naked, projected on the Houses of Parliament, as you do, Top of the Pops, that kind of stuff. I don't know, standard, get sections, just average.
Absolutely fantastic. There's not many people can say they got naked and was projected all over the Houses of Parliament, are there? That's definitely one of the history books.
Yeah, it's funny now that I'm 52, but at the time I was in shock. But it's just one of those things. Well, it's not one of those things. I always say those sort of things, but you've gone through loads as well yourself.
I know, but I'll tell you one thing: I would never endure anyone seeing me naked on Houses of Parliament. That they put a government health warning on that. Nobody deserves that.
You're in your 20s, you had a few glasses of champagne, they say, "No one's going to see this, girl, I promise you. It's just going to a little Polaroid, might go in the middle of a magazine, da-da-da." And I was like, "Okay, fine, woo, I'm in my 20s.
You were fabulous. You're fabulous, though. It's all right for yours to be on there, but I would, even at 20, mine didn't deserve to be on.
Sarah, airbrushing. I didn't even recognise that bottom. I was like, "That's not fine, is it?" So, it didn't even look like me. But, I didn't know about it until I saw it in the news. So that was a bit of a shock.
I was going to say, how did you handle that then when you suddenly went, "Oh, shit, that's me"?
Well, I was in my flat, living on my own, and hadn't been told anything about it. Didn't know what was happening. And I was just in the bathroom doing my teeth, and I had BBC News on, and they were like, Gail Porter. And I was like, "What? On BBC News?" No. And then I went through and I saw it. And I just saw the Houses of the House of Commons and Parliament and everything. And I saw my naked backside that's 100 foot tall. And I had to sort of double take and think that, please tell me I don't know what I was thinking. And then suddenly my phone started ringing. It was, the days when we had home phones.
Yeah.
And it was my mum going, what the effing heck have you done now? And I was like, oh, it's real. Oh, shit. So, and then my dad ignored it completely because obviously, Scottish dads just ignore things. And then you look out the window and paparazzis are outside. And I was like, oh, shit. So, and then everybody ignored me from the magazine that did it. I tried to contact people. No one had any communicate. They'd all done a runner. They made a fortune. I made nothing, and I dealt with the backlash. And but now that I'm at my age, they didn't even send me a copy of the magazine. And it was on one of the top shelves because I was going to go and buy it, and I thought, no, I'm just going to look like a right twat. Excuse me, could you pass down that magazine of me naked? Yeah,
I want to look at my arse on that building.
And where's my nipples, by the way? Apparently they had to like airbrush the nipples out because nipples are offensive. It's 100-foot arse up there. The nipple is offensive. That's the strangest thing I've ever heard of this whole situation. So anyway, so that's a little bit about me. And I used to work in B&Q as well.
But that maybe wasn't as exciting.
Yeah, it was not really. It was okay. They used to go, ding dong, could someone from hardware please go to checkout number 1? And that was me. I was the only person in hardware. And I was like, yeah, I can't be bothered. And they're going, ding dong, please could someone from hardware go to checkout number 1? And I was like, I'm not bothered. Don't care. And they go, ding dong, Gail Porter, we know you there. Checkout number 1. I was like, oh. I was like, Kevin and Perry going, what is it? But yeah.
Hey, God, I love it, Gail.
Fun times.
Do you know what? It's good that we can laugh, isn't it? It is so good that we can laugh. I think if we didn't,
this day and age,
what would we do?
Yeah, exactly. I don't even know what's going on in the news anymore. It seems to be like all wrapped up in some silly TV thing, and you just think, what is going on now?
World issues, and you get that shit going on. Honestly, it's just horrific, isn't it?
I got asked to go in some news program tomorrow night, and I was like, what for? I was like, I've got nothing to say about anything. I'm going to my spinning class.
Yeah, exactly. You just get to your spinning class.
Yeah, as long as I feel better, that's fine.
Get to your spinning class and take Ziggy for a walk. That's it.
No, I love taking her out in her lead. I think that's what's wrong with her because I didn't take her out this morning. But I was leaving at 5:45. It's too early to take a cat out. The foxes are still out, so it's not good.
No, it's not good. Ziggy does not need to meet a fox at that time of the morning.
She's an indoor cat and she doesn't really like going outside. So I got her a lead and we just do the garden and then she gets bored after about 5 minutes.
Yeah, I love it. I love it, Gail.
My daughter said to me, she's like, Mum, you can't take a cat outside with a lead because people will think you're crazy. And I went, honey, I get awards for that. I get awards for being nuts, okay? Fine.
You've got badges with nuts on.
Yeah, exactly.
Badges and medals.
Medals and everything. Who cares?
Who cares? Had a lead, medals, nuts. Who gives shit?
Who cares?
Right. I've got to ask you another question. Okie dokie. What does Formidable Over 40 mean to you?
Formidable Over 40 means to me, I just think I'm not dead yet, so that's great. And also, when I got to 40, everything started to go a bit, I can't even remember what age everything started to go a little bit weird. So I lost my hair when Honey was born. So she's 20 now. So 20 years ago, I lost my hair. So, I was in my 30s and then work started drying up. So when I was heading towards my 40s, I was thinking, do you know what? If I didn't have Honey, I don't think I could cope because the money was running out. And people are going, you must have had money. But, I'd gone through a big divorce. I was the breadwinner, joint house and all the rest of it. Our name. Anyway, you know what it's like. Yeah. And then, so everything was going out and my hair had fallen out and I was running out of money to pay for rent. And the only people on telly that wanted to touch me were people that wanted me to go on and talk about having alopecia. But they're going, oh, we'd love you to come on. We've got no money, but could you come on to? And there were big programs. Yeah. And so I did a few. And then eventually that was all people wanted to talk to me about. And I thought, oh, so just because I've lost my hair, I'm suddenly not me anymore. And so that got a little bit weirded out. And then the money was running out, as I say. No one was paying me. And I was even applying for jobs in bookshops. I applied for my library, and they were going, "Get your Gail Porter, you'll be fine." And I was like, "You need an income, you know."
Yeah.
And when I got to 40, I was just thinking, right, either I give up or I just keep going. So I think Formidable Over 40 is, for me, was just, I didn't give up. And I just thought, no, I've got this. Even when I was on a bench in the Hampstead Heath and I had nothing, and all my stuff is in storage, because I was in my house that I got when I was married. Then I had to get rid of that. Then I had to go, downsize. And then I was in a studio and I had to put everything into storage, and I couldn't afford to get it out. So I keep watching Storage Wars. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
See it on the telly and go, that's mine. So a lot of my friends, they didn't know what I was going through because I didn't want to tell everybody. And also I didn't have enough money to top up a phone, and I didn't have it. I spoke to a few people and said, can I stay on your sofa? But they've got families and it's embarrassing. And, for me, and everyone was kind, but I just thought, oh, this is terrible. So Formidable Over 40s is, I didn't give up and managed to get myself back on my feet. And the fact that my friends were saying, oh, well, you've lost all that stuff. And I went, it's just stuff. Do you know what? It doesn't matter. Obviously there's sentimental things and things but I thought, well, I could just start again. There's worse things that happen to people all the time. I've worked with amazing charities around the world, and I've seen things that I would never want to see again, and you can't believe what people go through. So me losing stuff means nothing, really. So, pictures and stuff, photos and things, but you've got your heart, you've got your memory. And so, Formidable Over 40s means, whatever life throws at you, there is a way to get out of it, even if out of the problems, even if you think it's the worst thing ever and you can't do it. Of course you can. Someone's got your back. You might not think it, but someone's got your back somewhere. And if not, you've got your own back.
I think that's the important thing, isn't it? It's not, when people are on their own, it's to remember that you are enough. You as long as you've got your own back, and that's that mindset that can be incredibly hard to sort of nurture, can't it, when you're absolutely on the bottom. What do you think it was that helped you? What would you say would be your first breakthrough? When you were saying like it was so tough, and you were sat on Hampstead Heath that time, and that I'm sure was a feeling of desolation and isolation. What was it that do you think has got you that foot on the ladder to pick yourself back up again? What did you do?
Oh, well, it's not. It's not great. But as you say, when you're on your own, you overthink things.
Yeah.
I wasn't feeling great this weekend, and I just stayed in bed, and that's a terrible thing for me to do. And then the more I did that, and I thought, don't get into that mindset. So anyway, what happened was when I was homeless, a friend put me up for a bit. She had 2 kids, and I was in the spare room, and they had creaky floors. And even if I went to the toilet, she went, I heard you go to the toilet at 3 a.m. And I was like, oh, I'm the worst human ever. And then she said to me, look, because she was a PR girl, and she said, someone got in contact with me saying, did I know you? And I was like, oh gosh, what is it? And they went, it is a job, but it's not great. And I don't care. It's a job. And they said, it's Big Brother. I was like, oh my God. Ideally, no, but I didn't have I was bankrupt, everything. I had nothing. And I said, well, I'll go for an interview. I think sometimes you just have to swallow your pride. And the thing is, with programs like Big Brother, they pick on vulnerable people or people that are at their lowest ebb. Everyone watches it because they know it's going to be fights, arguments. People go, who's that person? Who's that person? We don't even know who that person is. But for me, it was a job. And so I went for lots of psychological tests. So I thought, I'll never get through that, for one. And I did, which was weird. And then they said, would you like to do it? And I said, well, not really. But I was thinking, if I do it, I didn't get paid much at all, but it didn't matter. It was enough. If I did it, I had enough to put a deposit on a rented flat.
Right.
So I thought, that's all I care about. And that means because Honey was living with her dad because I had nowhere to stay. So, I thought, well, do you know what? I'm quite boring. And then I'll get voted out in week 1 because you don't get paid if you walk. So you have to stay in until you get voted out. So I was like, great. I'll be out first thing. I was there till week 3. I kept going into diary room going, hello, yeah, can you just vote me out? Could you please, I'm begging you from the bottom of my heart, just vote me out. And they're going, oh, you're so funny. I went, no, genuinely, get me out of here. It's crazy. And I was like, and I'd been sectioned, and that was...
That's the wrong programme, Gail. It was, you need to be I'm a celebrity for Get Me Out Here. That was where you went wrong.
I know, that was it. I did it all wrong. And so eventually, on week 3, after everyone's been screaming at each other and, oh my gosh, it was awful, Sarah. It was just, they lock you in the bedroom. You see it on the telly, if anyone watches it, I've got no idea. But for 1 hour, we're there 24 hours a day. And they take the clocks away. Well, there was one clock, or they'll put a clock in and they'll put the wrong time on it. And then they put all the shutters down, so you don't know if it's day or it's night. And then people are screaming at each other. And there was a couple next to me having sex in bed.
Oh, Christ.
They were going, but we love each other. And I went, do you know what? I love cleaning. I'm not dry humping them up. Just wait till you get out. You're only in here for a wee while. Oh my God. And then eventually, when we all kind of got dressed up, Janice Dickinson was in there, for goodness sake. Oh my gosh. She's like, oh my God, Gail, you should make more of an effort. And I went, why? We're in a blinking house. She's like, people are watching. Get out of your pajamas. And I was like, she kept trying to dress me up like a doll. Going, oh, you should wear my clothes. I was like, what is? You're about 6 foot. I'm 5'1". And she used to spend like days putting makeup on me. Oh, that's better. Everyone, come and see Gail. Come and see what she looks like now. And I was just like, oh, make it stop. So there was a day when we heard it was lovely. What was her name? Emma Willis. That was it. Yeah. She was presenting it, and everyone's sitting on the sofas and everything. And they're going, and the person out tonight is Gail Porter. I was like that, woo! Woo! Went running towards the stairs, and everyone's going, oh, because usually they'll cuddle. And I was like, oh, yeah, yeah, whatever. Went back and cuddled, and I was out. And I was like, oh my God, thank you. And then Emma said, we did an interview, and she said, what was that like, Gail? And I went, Emma, I've been sectioned, and that was more fun than that was. I tell you. And you know what I did? We had to all meet for the after party thing, like the next again week when everyone was out. And everyone was going, oh, we should all swap numbers. I was like, yeah. And they go, no, genuinely, should we all swap numbers? I was like, well, no. No. So did that. And then I got into this flat that I'm in, still in now. So that was 7-8 years ago. Bish bash bosh. Yeah. And then sort of from there, kind of slowly and surely picked myself back up again and just kept working and little bits and pieces, but enough to keep me going. I don't want for much, to be honest. Phenomenal. Pay my rent and look after my daughter. Happy days.
You've done incredibly. You're an absolute inspiration, Gail. You really are. You got such strength and the humour that you can, carry with it. I mean, goodness, you're absolutely incredible.
No. You're the incredible one. I just think I can't stop laughing at things. I think if I don't laugh, I'll probably cry. Going, how did that even happen?
I think we can all be a bit like that. Laughing is good. Laughing
is much better than crying.
We need more of that.
Laugh and cry, and that really frightens people because they're not very sure what's happening.
Yeah, I usually do that when I'm hysterical and I don't know what's happening either.
We're very similar in that way.
We are so similar. So, describe your 15-year-old self. What were your dreams and what were your hobbies?
15-year-old Gail wanted to be Princess Leia because I'm a big Star Wars fan. And I went to see the first Star Wars with my mum and my little brother, and I cried at the end of it. And my mum's like, what are you crying for? And I was like, I want to live in space. So she's like, yeah, you can. And I was like, oh, so she got me 2 massive badges, like, the huge badges you used to get at the cinema. Oh, it was amazing. So I had one with Princess Leia and one with Luke Skywalker on it. And I went to school the next day. And this is before 15, and I had the buns like Princess Leia had on. And then they used to go, oh, Gail, you snobby little shit. And I was like, oh, because I got picked on quite a bit at school. By the time I was 15, I think I was changing a little bit. I was thinking I'd done everything right. I'd done my studying and I was still studying and everything was going well. And I was in a massive school. It was like 1,200 pupils in it. So you were just lost in that school. And it was a great school, don't get me wrong, but you had to look out for yourself. And so I was a big martial arts person at the time. Well, I'm not always like Bruce Lee, but I just did martial arts. That was my hobby. So I did martial arts since I was 7. And by the time I was 15, I was an under 16 black belt. And then I was going for my over 16 black belt when I got to 16, obviously. And so that was my hobby. So it was, 15 was mostly martial arts, movies. And do you know, I don't think I'd even had my first kiss at 15. I think I was 16. I was quite a late bloomer.
Yes.
So I was quite boring, to be honest. And then I think 16, 17, I started to just go completely off the rails.
So you have had, as we are gathering, the most wonderful and varied career.
Yeah.
What would you say, and it might not even be yet because you've got some really exciting things coming up, but what would you say has been your career highlight so far?
Oh, everything. Do you know what? Getting the first job is a highlight because I remember my grandma was dying at the time, and I'd told her, you know, me and my grandma got on. I loved her, she's my grandma, and I told her I got this audition for this program on ITV, and she was so excited. And she was in Edinburgh, and I was in Glasgow going for the auditions, and And then I told her I got the job, and it was it was a totally interactive game show on STV and ITV, and it was on about 3:40, you know, proper kids telly. And so Grandma was so pleased, and she'd been brought home from hospital to be at home because nothing else they could do. And so I'd phoned her up just before I went on the telly box, and I was like, Grandma, I'm going to be live in the telly box in about an hour. And she was really weak at the time. And then I said, I'll phone you right afterwards. So then I did the show, came off. I phoned her up, and my grandpa answered the phone, and I went, can I speak to Grandma? And he went, oh, do you know what? She's just having a wee snooze. And I thought, you just know. So she didn't make it to see what I did. But she knew that I got the job, which was great. So that was a highlight. Well, not a highlight that my grand died, but that she knew that I had the job.
Yeah, exactly.
So that was a highlight.
Yeah.
And then Top of the Pops was a highlight because that's fun. That's not even a real job.
Yeah.
That's like hanging out with bands in the 90s, sorry.
Yeah.
And then this is a highlight, right? This is one of my favourites. Hello, Wembley. Please welcome onto the stage, David Bowie. I had to do that.
That would be fantastic. Yeah.
And this is another highlight. So, Robert De Niro, what was your favourite role? Not cheese, but what? But, I got to do loads of amazing things.
Yeah,
I don't know. And even with the charity work, I've gone to countries that they've been terrifying, but they've been places that you would never imagine you'd even escape from, to be honest. When I went to Liberia, I thought, this is it, I'm never coming home. So I know that doesn't sound like a highlight, but to get to go there and try and make a difference, then that's a highlight. You can't have one highlight, can you?
No, so many and so varied, all different, from all different stages of your life, aren't they?
Yeah.
Now, one thing I really want to talk about is your charity work that you do for homelessness, because, you know, we want to hopefully get some of the listeners who are with us to support you. Can you tell us about the work that you're doing and, you know, how you know, about the charity?
Yeah, oh gosh, so that's one of many. So I do Single Homeless Charity, the project. So that's SHP, and that's for London homeless.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the homeless problem across the UK is just ridiculous. But London, because it's so many people come to London thinking, you know, they're going to get a great job, and it's just heartbreaking, the amount of people and, you know, children and teenagers and families. So I just do whatever they want me to do. So any sort of press or help out. And I do the same with Centrepoint. I just, you know, get involved with the people that are working in Centrepoint, and I get involved with the Samaritans who help Centrepoint. I mean, everyone sort of gets involved with each other. So I go out and meet a lot of the homeless people, or I'll volunteer wherever they need me to volunteer if I'm around, and I just try and raise awareness, whether it's like talking to you or going on certain television programs and just saying, you know, you can, usually the websites are put up and people can either offer to come and, you know, volunteer or donate some money or whatever to try and help the project. So it's so difficult because they're not getting so much government funding. And I think that's so crazy in this day and age. So I just try and do as much as possible, just raising awareness and talking about it.
Yeah, yeah.
It breaks my heart. And also it's really tricky because there's a lot of people that I know that are not homeless, but they're begging for money all the time. And it's really tricky for people that are homeless because once they get bitten by someone that they think, there's a few people that live around here. Well, they don't live, or they do actually live around here, because I know it's a big scam that they've got going on. And they'll sit outside Sainsbury's, or they'll sit, and I always say, would you like me to get you some food? Because sometimes it's better. Or I'll say, do you know what? I've got a helpline number for the SHP. And they went, no, we just want cash. And then you think, well, and it's really hard because I want to give them cash, but you just think, look, I'm offering you a helpline. I'm offering you cash. I take up clothes, and I actually took up a jacket the other day there, and the guy that I gave it to, I saw him the other day, and he was like, no, I said, where's your jacket? It's freezing. And he went, oh, I sold it. Oh. So it's very difficult for people. I understand that people can get a little bit grumpy with who do you give money to and who do you not? Because there's so many places that they can go. Centrepoint, you can just pop in and ask for help, and they'll give you advice. They'll tell you where to go. They'll tell you who to speak to. They can offer you a room, depending on your circumstances. There's so many things you can do. Things that I wish that I'd known when I was homeless. Yeah. But it's just very difficult for people that are not homeless to think, is that person genuinely wanting help, or are they just putting cash in? There's a lot of people that take drugs nowadays as well, because you know what, you can understand, I guess, if they're out in the streets and maybe it's their way to escape everything. And I don't know, it's a very complex thing to talk about, because you want to try your best. Yeah. I would say to anybody that is wanting to help someone that's homeless, just look up a website. Just always have it in your bag. I've always got the number of the Samaritans in a bag, or I've got a website for Centrepoint, and I just hand it out. And I just could contact them, or, get someone to phone them for you. Because not everyone's got a phone, obviously, if they're homeless. But mind you, the guy outside Sainsbury's got a better phone than me.
Yeah. But I suppose it's so difficult, isn't it? Because I suppose when you kind of get to the point where you're going to be or could be homeless before you actually end up on the street, where is the sign? Like, what could you share with the listeners? Say there's someone who's listening to this and thinking, I know I'm nearly at the end of the line here. Yeah. I've got nowhere to turn. I'm going to end up on the street at this rate. How do they know where to go? How can you signpost people to, to this support that's available? Because, if you don't know if you've never been in that position before, how would you even know where to start looking? Is there a particular...
It's the absolute basics. It's go to a library, because you can walk in there for free, and you could just ask them, do you have anywhere that's near here, a community centre, a focus group? There's centres across the country that allow people to go in and use their laptops for free. They help them with job skills, application skills, all these sort of things, and they're allowed to do it for free. So you just go, community centres and libraries are the best places to go. They're both free. They'll give you advice for free. They'll let you use laptops for free, and put you in the right direction of who you should speak to. And it's simple for us to say, but you panic when you're in that situation, thinking, where do you go from here? And who's going to help me? I didn't even think about going to a library or a community centre, but they've all got the means to help you and tell you where you can use free data. I know that there's quite a lot of things. In fact, I'll give you a lot of information, and if you can put it on your...
Yes, because that's what we can do, is we can add the information that you've got to the bottom of the podcast, in the podcast sort of narrative, so that if anybody's listening and they know that they're going through this challenging time, we can try and signpost them to as much support as we can through the podcast. Next question. This is an exciting question, I think, for you. What's next? Tell everybody about what you're up to over the next few months.
Oh, well, so I am doing a show at the Edinburgh Festival for the whole month. Every night, 7:00 at the Assembly Club Rooms, which is in George Square. And I thought it was a really good idea, and now I don't think it's a great idea. So it was one of those bucket list things. And I go to the Edinburgh Festival every year. I'm from Edinburgh, and it's I'm going to Edinburgh tomorrow, and just for the weekend. I've got a job up there, but it's just nice. Yeah. I just love going home. Yeah. And so anyway, it came up, and I thought, I can be funny for an hour. And then the more it's coming up to it, I've got 2 months left, and I think this is the worst idea I've ever had. I don't think I've ever thought of anything worse. And I bumped into, I did a podcast a few weeks ago with, do you know Jordan Gray?
No.
She did the Edinburgh Festival. I think she won everything at the Edinburgh Festival last year. She's hilarious. She does a show called Is It a Bird? And she just came back from the Melbourne Comedy Festival. And I did it with her. And I was like, it's a terrible idea. And she said, you know what? You'll have the best time. I said, yeah, but it's Edinburgh. It's my home. And she said, you're not going to have the best time all the time. It's going to take you, you get bad reviews, you'll get good reviews. That's how it works. And I said, yeah, I know. And she said, just don't take it personally. Just enjoy it. She said, once you get the first week over and done with, you're going to be fine. And I was like, yeah. And it was just all my friends are phoning up going, we've got tickets for the first night. And I was like, no, take them back. I don't want you there on the first night. Wait till I sort of like warm up a wee bit because I'm going to be super nervous. So yeah, I'm going to do that for the whole of August.
Fantastic.
So I haven't told Ziggy yet.
Is Ziggy going with you?
No, she's not. She's because I'm going to stay at my friend's house. In fact, two of my friends are away. One's away for the first 2 weeks of August and the other's away for the second 2. So I'm looking after their houses, which is amazing because I don't know if you've ever gone up to Edinburgh and the festival and tried to stay in a hotel. I
can imagine it must be absolutely heaving, is it?
Oh, it's heaving. And also the prices just go through the roof.
Through the roof.
I mean, a month's rent for me here is probably like 2 nights at a hotel. So I was so lucky that they said, oh, you can have the house. I was like, oh, thank goodness for that. So I've got a Ziggy sitter. So my friend is going to come and stay in my house.
Nice.
I don't think it's because my cat, she's a rescue cat. I love my animals. I love them so much. In fact, you should, I know that you've got your horses and your dogs as well, haven't you? Yeah. So I've got a few dog shows coming up if you want to come in London town.
I could just imagine my Dalmatian and my Lurcher let loose in London. Oh, my Lord. I'll tell you what, they'd have the dog catcher out trying to retrieve them.
We've got, honestly, it's chaos. I'm doing one in Primrose Hill in 2 weeks' time, and then I'm doing All Dogs Matter on Hampstead Heath, and it's absolute carnage, but it's the funniest day. I love it. I absolutely love it. It's just a whole day of just hanging out with doggies and lots of people that love doggies.
Yeah.
But yes, I thought Ziggy was at home and she used to get attacked by other cats. And then she was put into the Cat Protection Society where she was left there for a while. And then I saw her when I was actually in Edinburgh. I saw a picture of her because I get all these little alerts saying, oh, this cat needs a home. And so I called them up and I said, oh, I'll take the cat. And so when I got her here, she was terrified and she just hid behind my sofa for about 2 days. And then eventually now she's more needy than I am. I'm quite needy. And she's like, I go spinning this morning and I get back and and I was like, what? And now she's been fed fresh fish that I got from Marks and Spencer's on the way back from spinning, which I cooked up for her. And now she's gone. She doesn't even care anymore. Doesn't love me anymore.
There's a little story in that, isn't there, somewhere? about getting what they want and then buggering off. That's a whole new podcast, isn't it? That's a whole new podcast, that, isn't it, really?
It's like either children or blokes.
That's another. We'll now start going down that route. We could be on for hours.
Do you know what as well? Because that's what we're going to talk about. Because one of my friends said, would you ever think about going on Tinder? And I went, no, because I'll get murdered. And they said, what do you mean you'll get murdered? And I went, have you never watched the Crime Channel? And they went, yeah. And I went, Meet, Marry, Murder. That's the name of a program, Meet, Marry, Murder. Snapped, Women Who Kill. And then the Tinder Killers.
Oh, Christ.
I said, that's what will happen to me because that's the sort of dating luck. I'm quite happy with a cat.
I was going to say, you just hang out with Ziggy. She sounds quite safe.
Hang out with Ziggy and not get murdered.
Don't get murdered. Not this week anyway.
No, just not doing it. Somebody asked me out the other day on whatever, Twitter, whatever it was. And they went, oh, maybe we should go for coffee. And I went, no. Just no. And they went, oh, right. Well, that was quite blunt. And I went, well, I don't know you. So you're probably going to murder me. Never heard of him again. So maybe I should not see murder so much. It's like quite good in Scottish, doesn't it, murder?
Don't watch that NCIS, whatever you do.
Oh, I watched them all. I watched them all.
I do.
I told my daughter, because my daughter said to me, she went, Mum, I'm thinking I might Well, she wants to be in a band. She wants whatever, 20-year-olds, they do what they want, don't they? I said, as long as you finish uni, as long as you're happy, that's all that matters. And then she said, I think I want to be a detective. And I went, that's amazing, because I'm a detective. She went, no, you're not, Mum. And I went, yes, I am. She went, no, you watch the crime channel. I went, yes, but who solves the crime before the detectives? And she went, well, you do. It's because you watch it all the time. And I went, I know, because I'm a detective. She went, no, you're not. And I was like, yes, I am. So that's my new thing. So if we started the podcast again, you'd say, so Gail, what do you do? And I'll go, hello, I'm a detective, Sarah.
I work for NCIS.
Yes. And also Law and Order, Criminal Intent. Crime Scene Investigates.
I love it.
I used to work on Taggart, mind you.
Did you?
Yeah, but I only made sandwiches for the old age pensioners who used to come in and do the extra work. So there was one day, I was only about 17 or 18, and all the old age pensioners came in, and they all got about £100 a day. I didn't get paid. And then it was lunchtime, and I was running around, and there's hundreds of all these lovely old people. And I was like, oh, would you like a sandwich? We've got cheese or we've got ham. And they were like, oh, we get better sandwiches on Take the High Road. I was like, well, go back to Take the High Road. I'm ready to get paid. There's been a murder.
Yeah, I love Taggart. There's been a murder.
He never actually said there's been a murder. Well, yeah, it was one of those things, but he never actually said it. But it was great fun.
Now, I've got a question that I would like you to answer for anyone who's listening. And it's about, what would you say is the biggest piece of advice that you would give to anybody who is embarking on a journey of reinvention? They're sat there listening to this. They feel stuck. They don't know which way to go. What's next? How do I? Whatever. What would you say? How can they get unstuck? What should they be doing?
Probably do what I didn't do, which was actually talk to someone. I just thought I could do everything myself, and then I was getting worse because I was just overthinking. And the more I think about it, I thought if I'd actually just reached out to somebody, because I was so embarrassed about, not that these people are in the situation that I was in, but if they were in that situation, or if they want to try something different, it's easy to try and think, oh, it's fine, I can do it myself, it will be no problem. But it's much easier if you just sort of, they can always say no. So could you give me a bit of advice, or could you point me in the right direction? And I wish I'd done that years ago, because if someone asked me for a bit of advice and I couldn't give them it, I would say, well, do you know what? I know somebody who knows somebody that might be able to help you. And I've realized that now. So I always say to my friends, if ask me anything, like, what's the chemical symbol of salt? It's Na. I only know that because, but I'm joking. No, it is actually that. But when I said, no, ask me anything, and then I can ask somebody that you might not know. Yes. And then, so I now have the confidence to ask them as well, and not feel embarrassed. Don't feel embarrassed. That's one thing. Don't give up, and just ask.
That's the hardest thing, isn't it? Because I think there's this awful perception that people will be judged, and they're already feeling potentially judged enough as it is.
Yeah,
by judging themselves, that they're being so hard on themselves, that I think the fear of reaching out to speak to somebody else and be judged further is sometimes too much pain to bear. But the reality is that if you can find someone who you really trust, and someone who can you believe will be able to understand. Yeah. I think the secret is, like you say, isn't it? It's to just put that stake in the ground and ask for help, isn't it?
Because the amount of people that said to me that didn't know that I was homeless, they didn't know the situation I was in. And once they found out, once I got myself back on the feet, they were like, why on earth did you not just call us? Why did you not just ask for help? Why did you not let us know what situation you were in? And I went, because I was embarrassed. Yeah. I was embarrassed, and I felt I was useless. And I just thought, it's just, no one can help me. I'm in a terrible situation. And they were all going, we would have been there. And now, when I got myself back on my feet, and I thought, I'm going to make sure that everyone knows. Not everyone on Twitter and Instagram, by the way. So it's totally fine, but I can't answer everybody.
Yes,
so just ask for help.
Yeah,
ask for help.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Gail, it's been an absolute pleasure And it's been so
lovely to see you.
It's been so lovely to see you. Thank you for listening to the Formidable Over 40 podcast. Thank you so much to the incredible Gail for joining us and sharing her inspiration. Head to the show notes to find links to connect with Gail and more information about the things we've discussed. Follow the podcast so you don't miss any future episodes, and please do leave us a rating and share Formidable Over 40 with anyone you think will enjoy it or needs to hear it.